Next, let's finish up this college basketball preview episode with our final four picks, our national champion picks. Looking back at last year, we both had my Jayhawks winning it. We both had my Jayhawks winning it. They got a 4 seed, got smacked by Gonzaga in the second round. I had Duke in the final four. They got a 4 seed. They lost to NC State in the Elite Eight. And then I had Marquette. They got a 2 seed, lost to Clemson in the second round. And then I had Baylor. They got a 3 seed. They lost to Baylor lost to Clemson. Marquette lost to NC State. Maxie, like I said, you had Kansas. You had your Boilers in the final four. Our only pick that was right. You had your Boilers there. You put your balls on the table. You did it. You had Texas A&M in your final four. They got a 9 seed. There was a lot of buzz about Buzz. And then you had Arkansas in your final four. It was a dark horse. They didn't make the tournament.
They
They
didn't
didn't
make
make
it.
the tournament. But good on you for picking Purdue to make it to that final four. That was great for Zach Edey. Max, give me your first final four team. Now, not necessarily your national champion. Just give me a team that you have going to the final four.
I think this is a good year for them, especially with the big dog and Cooper Flag. I got Duke. Okay, I think
Nice.
Duke could make the Final Four. Looking like young team. Freshmen make me nervous. They do, but I'm gonna just for right now, just from projections, I could see Duke making it.
I had Duke last year. Yeah, definitely Cooper Flag. I'm excited about them. I do not have Duke, but I'll give you one team. We just mentioned them a little bit ago. The Crimson Tide of Alabama going back to back Final Fours here. They made their first Final Four last year, first Final Four in school history last year. Mark Sears, potential player of the year. Nate Oates, your guy, potential coach of the year for sure. They have the seventh ranked transfer class, according to 247 Sports. We just talked about him, Cliff Amorier from
Hmm.
Rutgers. 10.5 points, 8.5 boards, 3 blocks for the Scarlet Knights last year. They also add from South Florida, co-AAC player of the year, averaging 15.3 points last year for South Florida. Chris Youngblood, one of the best
Oh yeah,
names.
young blood. Yeah, I
Youngblood.
remember talking about him. We're like, that is
Yeah.
not real. That can't. That's got to be a nickname.
Go AAC Player of the Year last year, and then they also add Alabama does Aiden Holloway, a point guard from Auburn. Alabama has the second ranked recruiting class according to 247sports.com. They started 2 freshmen last night. Darion Reed, the 17th ranked recruit, and Labaron Filone, the 34th ranked recruit. Alabama Max, I like them because they're big, they're long. They start 6'11, 6'11, 6'8, and they bring 6'11 and 6'10 off the bench. One of those guys is Grant Nelson. If you remember him, averaged 12 points and 6 boards last year. He's coming off the bench now behind Amorier. Alabama is deep. They like to run. They like to chuck a lot of threes. I got them going back to the Final Four. What do you think about that? And do you have them?
I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I also have Alabama. Okay.
Oh,
Everything that you
wow.
named, everything that you said. I have Nate Oates as my coach of the year. Mark Sears as a first team All American. Yeah, I could see them going back to back, maybe slipping into that championship game with this kind of elite lineup.
Yeah. So we're both on Alabama to go to their second ever Final Four. That's awesome. I'm going to give you another team here, Max. My coach of the year, Gonzaga. I think
Oh,
Gonzaga breaks
Gonzaga
through.
making them.
Mark Few, he's being slept on, I think. They've been the model of consistency over the last 2 to 3 decades in college basketball. 17 straight, 25 win seasons, 9 straight Sweet 16s. The Zags, they returned 10 guys, 4 of them starters. All 5 starters this year are seniors. They bring another senior off the bench. They're old, man. They're old. Ryan Nemhard, Graham Ike, that's one of the best pick and roll tandems in college basketball. I like Gonzaga to break through. What do you think?
I like Gonzaga a lot too. I don't have them. I don't have them this year. Maybe I'm sleeping on them. But after Purdue kicked their asses 2 times in a row last year, or two, yeah,
Smacking.
yeah,
Smacking.
smack it. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm good on them. I'm good on them. But I do like Gonzaga. Not a bad pick. My next guy, Cobreezy. I'm surprised you didn't say him. Yeah, Kansas, baby. I got Kansas with
Yeah.
with the big dog that we have
Yep.
national player of the year, man. I that's enough said. Bill Self, arguably one of the best, arguably the best coach in the game.
Yeah.
We can, we'll talk about that another time. We did last year. We'll talk about it another time this
I,
year.
I like doing that last year, by the way.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
fun.
But I think Kansas last year was a fluke. They had injuries. I think this year they wake up, and you better believe with the big dog down low, he wants to go further. Okay, there's a reason he transferred from Michigan, and it wasn't just because the head coach Juwan Howard is a jackass. It's because he wants to win.
Yeah, I agree, Max. I got Kansas in there. You know I do.
Okay,
Preseason
yeah.
number one. I got to have him in there. I got to have him in there. We know about the big three, the three returning starters. DeJuan Harris, he's a championship winning point guard. He's the 2 years ago the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. I like him a lot. Big Dick, Hunter Dickinson in the middle. We both have him as our Player of the Year. KJ Adams at the four, super athletic.
Yeah.
Now the other two spots in the starting lineup that was up for grabs. Bill Self started last night. David Coit in the backcourt with DeJuan Harris. He averaged 21 points per game last year at Northern Illinois. And then at the three on the wing, we got Alabama's Rylan Griffin. He averaged over 11 points last year, shot 39% from three, started all but 3 games for the Crimson Tide, went to the Final Four. That's a big pickup.
Wow.
And Max, you talked about the injuries over these last 2 seasons. There hasn't been a lot of depth. Hasn't been a lot of depth for the Jayhawks to go to on the bench. Bill Self, he made a point of emphasis on that. He goes into the transfer portal. He goes to San Diego State, the Jackrabbits. He gets Zeke Mayo. He averaged over 18 points per game each of the last 2 years. He was the Summit League Player of the Year last year. Last night, off the bench, he knocked in 19 points on
Whoa.
5 of 8 from three. 5 of 8 from three last night.
Okay.
And it's a great story. He's from Lawrence, Kansas. He went to Lawrence High School. He grew up wanting to be a Jayhawk. They told him basically, you're not good enough. He goes to San Diego State, balls out. Now he's going to spend his last year with the Jayhawks. That's awesome. Another pickup for Bill Self, AJ Storr. Do you recognize that name from Wisconsin?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Big dog down low. Big dog down low.
He's on the wing. 16.8 points last year at Wisconsin. Second team All Big Ten. Got him coming off the bench right now. Last guy I want to bring up. Flory Badunga, the reigning Mr. Indiana from Kokomo, Max. From Kokomo. Mr. Indiana.
Kokomo.
Going to Kansas. Flory Badunga. He was the number 14 recruit from 247sports.com. Last night, he didn't miss a shot. 6 for 6, 13 points, 8 boards, backing up Big Dick. I like the depth this year. Definitely those three guys coming off the bench.
Looking deep.
Yeah. Kansas, they're scheduled to play 8 of the top 10 preseason teams. Scheduled to play 8 of the top 10 preseason teams. It's going to be well tested come March. But here's a crazy nugget, Max. Kansas, they're number 1 in the preseason right now, correct? In the AP poll, number 1. Kansas has never even made the Sweet 16 in any season where they were ranked preseason number 1. Never have they even made the Sweet 16 when they were ranked preseason
little cursed.
I think they get over that hump this year. Bill Self, like you said, one of the best, if not the best coaches in the game. Kansas in my Final Four along with you. How many more teams you got?
I just got one more. I'll go ahead and name it real quick. I'm going to stay in the Big 12. I got Houston. Okay, I love Kelvin Sampson. Okay, I love the way he does with it, what he does with his teams. Hard defense. They are exhausted at the end of the game, but so is the other team because of how physical they get with you. Unreal. I think this is the year that he can squeak them back into the Final Four.
Yeah, I like Kelvin Sampson a lot. Definitely one of my top 5 coaches in the game. Houston grinds it out, man. They win games 53-45. They're not pretty to watch. They're not pretty to play against, but yeah, they get it done. Definitely 1 seed last year. I like them. I don't have them in my Final Four. I want a dark horse here. I'm juiced up. I'm juiced about the recruiting class, about the NBA prospects. I'm going to Rutgers.
Oh my goodness!
I'm throwing a dark horse in there.
Oh my
goodness!
Throwing
a dark horse in there. Number 4 ranked recruiting class according to 247 Sports. I already talked enough about Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, the number 2 and number 3 recruits. They're number 2 and number 3 in a lot of NBA mock drafts. Most of them I've seen, number 2 and number 3 behind Cooper Flagg is Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey in whatever order. This would be Rutgers' second Final Four appearance ever in school history. Big Ten, we know it's a solid conference.
Yeah.
Rutgers, they could get I could see them getting a 6 or 7 seed and just going on a run in March. You know, taking their lumps during the season, plenty of losses, 8, 9, 10 losses, but just getting hot come March and that NBA talent just winning over.
I like it. They win that Big Ten tournament, then maybe they get that momentum to into the dance. Go Breezy. I like it. I would like to see them play first. How about that? That's all I got.
Definitely excited to see that for sure. Give me your national championship game, Max. Who's raising a banner? Who's going home crying?
I'm going to go ahead and say Kansas taking on Alabama. I'm going to go Kansas taking on Alabama, and I'm just going to go where the history rolls. I'm going to go Kansas. All right. You're happy, Cobreezy. You're happy. I said it last year. I think it's a redemption season. The depth that you've already brought up, Cobreezy, with Hunter Dickinson, the big dick down low, unreal. I think that I think they got something this year. I think they really do. Last season, we already talked about that too. They didn't have the depth. They had a starting five, and we're like, well, if one of those starting five gets injured, and sure enough, look what happened. So, different story this year. Well coached, and Alabama again. Great job of recruiting for transfers, and Mark Sears is back, so I can see them going very, very deep into that championship game. But I got Kansas. I'm going to go with history, rather than Alabama winning their first championship. I think it would be their first.
Yeah. First Final Four appearance for Alabama last year. I like how we agree on the Crimson Tide to get back there. I got them getting taken down by Gonzaga in that Final Four, so I got Gonzaga going to the championship. But damn it, Mark Few's not going to get the first ever for Gonzaga because they're losing. I got to go with you, Max. To my Kansas Jayhawks, this 22 right here, that's going to say 25. That's going to say 25 with the depth. Bill Self, the best coach in the nation. I love the options off the bench. AJ Storr coming off the bench. Zeke Mayo, my goodness. Yeah. KJ Adams is a freak. DeJuan Harris, DeJuan Harris was the point guard for this team.
Yeah.
A Big 12
great point
player of the year.
Great point guard. Yeah.
Defensive player of the year in the conference 2 years ago. So I love the depth. I love Bill Self, the Kansas Jayhawks. Back-to-back years for both of us, Max. Back-to-back years. We're picking them again.
Oh, my goodness. If they lose this year, we can't pick them next year. Okay, well, we have this again. That if they lose, we can't do it. Okay, there's no way we can do 3 times the charm.